Greetings from South Korea. I am Arirang News AI anchor. Here is the news making headlines today. As the final leg of his trip to Europe, President Lee Jae-myung attended the G7 summit in France for discussions on international development cooperation. Tuesday's session began with a group photo, during which President Lee met U.S. President Donald Trump for a short greeting. In a readout, the Blue House said Trump asked Lee about recent developments in inter-Korean relations, and Lee asked Trump to lead a peaceful resolution of issues relating to North Korea, noting Trump's contribution to the recent U.S.-Iran peace agreement. Trump reportedly responded positively. On the sidelines of the G7 summit in France, President Lee Jae-myung held back-to-back talks with the leaders of Canada and Germany on Tuesday. President Lee and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney focused on deepening strategic cooperation in defense, security, energy, and critical minerals. The meeting comes as Korea's Hanwha Ocean and Germany's TKMS compete for a multi-billion-dollar submarine contract from Canada. Before meeting with Prime Minister Carney, President Lee held separate talks with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. High on the agenda was cooperation in the economy, defense, science and technology sectors, as well as international security. Iran will be permanently barred from developing or acquiring nuclear weapons under a new framework agreement reached with the United States. That's according to U.S. President Donald Trump at the G7 summit in France on Tuesday, as he addressed the U.S.-Iran deal to end the war. The Memorandum of Understanding also secures the immediate halt of the 15-week conflict and a permanent toll-free reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The formal signing ceremony is scheduled for this Friday in Switzerland. According to multiple reports, a $300 billion private investment vehicle named the Reconstruction and Development Fund has been established to rebuild Iran. Reuters reports that more than half of that sum has already been committed by international corporations. President Donald Trump said Tuesday that he wants to turn his attention to ending the war in Ukraine after reaching a framework agreement with Iran, and told reporters that the Middle East issue will soon be in the rearview mirror. Speaking on the sidelines of the Group of Seven summit in France, Trump said he had a very good meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and planned to meet with him again later in the day. Trump said he would do whatever he could to help bring an end to the conflict and urged Russia to negotiate a settlement. The U.S. leader noted that both Russia and Ukraine have suffered heavy losses during the war and stressed that a deal should be reached as soon as possible. Korean series Teach You a Lesson has topped the Netflix non-English TV show chart for a second consecutive week. According to Netflix's official partner site Tudoom's Top 10 rankings on Wednesday, the series had 21.1 million views between June 8 and 14. That's more than 8 times more views than the second-ranked show. It also topped the charts in 46 countries and ranked in the top 10 in 91 more. Based on a popular webtoon, the series follows a fictional government agency created to defend teachers' rights and restore order over school-related issues. That is all from me today. Thank you for watching.